You ever get that gut feeling when something just isn't right? Yeah, that's how I felt last Tuesday night at work. I've been doing the late shift at this small gas station just outside of town for about a year now. It's quiet, usually, but I prefer that. It makes the nights drag a little, but at least it's peaceful. Or it was. It was around 2:15 in the morning when it happened. I'd just finished stocking the shelves and there hadn't been a customer in over an hour. The store was dead, except for the soft hum of the refrigerators and that flickering light out front that I always forget to fix. I was scrolling through my phone, trying to stay awake, when headlights cut across the parking lot. A black sedan pulled up. Not a big deal, right? Cars come and go, but this one looked official. Like those unmarked cop cars you sometimes see. It had that look, clean, all black, no obvious make or model. I straightened up as the door opened, and out stepped a man. He was tall, with broad shoulders, dressed in a police uniform. The guy was probably in his late 30s, early 40s. His hair was buzzed short, and he walked with purpose, like he meant business. For a second I was relieved, thinking he might have stopped by for a coffee or maybe just to check in. "Evening, officer," I said with a nod as he walked in. I wanted to keep things casual. "Everything all right?" But he didn't answer right away. He walked up to the counter, looking around the store with this cold, calculated expression. "You the only one working here tonight?" His voice was low, almost too calm. I nodded. "Yeah, it's just me." He looked me up and down like he was sizing me up. It was unsettling. Usually when cops stop by, they're friendly enough. Small talk, maybe a smile. Not this guy. His eyes were sharp, like he was looking for something. Something wrong. "We've had reports of suspicious activity in the area," he said, pulling out a notepad from his jacket pocket. "I'm making rounds. Anything unusual tonight?" I shook my head. "No, nothing. It's been pretty quiet, actually." He didn't seem convinced. He jotted something down in his pad without looking up. The whole thing felt weird, too formal for what should have been a routine check-in. My stomach started to twist in knots, but I didn't want to seem paranoid. Then, out of nowhere, he asked, "Mind if I take a look around?" That's when my gut screamed at me. Real cops don't just walk into a gas station and start searching without a reason, right? And I hadn't done anything wrong. The store was clean, stocked, and there was nothing worth checking out in the back, just a break room and some shelves of supplies. "I don't think that's necessary," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. "There's nothing back there." He didn't flinch, just kept staring at me. "I'll be the judge of that," he said, starting to move toward the back door. I stepped in front of him, my heart racing. "Look, officer, unless you've got a warrant, I don't think I can let you do that." His face changed then. It wasn't angry exactly, but something darker. His jaw tightened, and I noticed his hand twitch near his belt. Not near a gun, but close enough that I was suddenly very aware that I was alone, in the middle of the night, with no one around for miles. "You sure about that?" His voice dropped lower, almost like a challenge. For a split second, I thought about backing down. I mean, who was I to argue with a cop? But something wasn't right. My instincts were screaming at me now. I needed to know for sure. "I'm just gonna call the station real quick," I said, my voice shaking more than I wanted. To check in, make sure everything's good." His eyes went cold. "That won't be necessary." But I was already reaching for my phone, my fingers fumbling as I dialed 911. The air in the room felt thick, like time had slowed down. He watched me, not moving, just staring. 911, what's your emergency?" The operator's voice was calm, a stark contrast to the panic building in my chest. "Yeah, hi," I said, trying to keep my voice even. "I'm at the quick stop on Route 9 and there's an officer here. Can you confirm his identity?" There was a pause on the other end. My heart was pounding so loud I could barely hear the operator. "Hold on, sir," she said, and I heard her typing something in the background. The man in front of me hadn't moved, but I could feel the tension rising between us. He was waiting for me to slip up, waiting to see if I'd back down. After what felt like forever, the operator came back on. "Sir, there are no officers currently in that area. Are you in immediate danger?" I swallowed hard, trying to keep my voice calm. I think so." The man's eyes narrowed. He didn't say a word, just turned and walked out the door, as calm and collected as when he'd come in. He got back into his car and without another glance, he drove off into the night. I stood there, frozen, the phone still pressed to my ear. "Sir?" The operator's voice snapped me out of it. "Are you okay?" I think so," I whispered, but the truth was I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure about anything anymore. The real police showed up about 15 minutes later. 2 squad cars, lights flashing. They took my statement, Asked a million questions, but there wasn't much to go on. The guy hadn't left a trace. No fingerprints, no security footage that showed anything useful. They told me this wasn't the first time they'd had reports of a fake cop in the area. Someone pulling people over, walking into stores, acting like they were in charge. But they never caught him. I quit the job the next day. I just couldn't shake the feeling that he'd come back, maybe even when I was alone again. And this time, I wouldn't be so lucky.